The beginning of the year usually opens with new expectations. But this January felt different. There was an unusual aura, there was a silence that spoke louder than words. Amid the calm winter air, one name is back in the limelight, Jungkook. The January issue of ELLE does more than just mark the turn of the calendar. It came like a signal. A story opener. A first sentence of a long narrative that has not yet been fully revealed to the public. The sentence is simple, but full of meaning. Beautiful New Year. Behind the short phrase, Jungkook appears not only as a global pop star. There was something deeper, quieter, yet powerful. His gaze was deep, his expression calm, as if harboring a story that was not ready to be told now. Elle's camera captured her not as an idol on stage, but rather as a symbol, an icon that transcends genres, transcends trends, transcends time. Interestingly, this time Jungkook does not stand alone in the visual narrative. There is a shadow of a big name that has always been synonymous with elegance, luxury, and a long history of the world of fashion and beauty. A brand that never loses its relevance, although times are constantly changing. The meeting of these two worlds feels natural, but it also provokes a lot of questions. Is this just an ordinary photo shoot, or is it the beginning of something much bigger, detail by detail as if deliberately arranged to make the public wonder? A minimalist yet emotional concept choice. A classic feel that blends with Jungkook's modern charm. No statement is too obvious. No confirmation is really asserted. But that's exactly where the attraction lies. Everything feels tempting, as if the reader is invited to guess for himself. In the Korean entertainment industry, nothing happens for no reason. Every collaboration, every selection of figures, always carries an implicit message. Jungkook, with his global influence, was definitely not a random choice. And when an iconic brand chose to walk with him at the beginning of the year, the public knew, this is no accident, but ELLE seemed to deliberately hold her reader's breath. Not immediately explain. Not rush to open the card. Like a drama that delays its climax, letting curiosity grow, slowly but surely, and only at the end of this story, one thing becomes clear, that the January issue is not just about photos, style, or aesthetics. The point is in Jungkook's new role. A prestigious position. A move that marks a new chapter. At the end of all those question marks, it was revealed that Jungkook was chosen as the global ambassador for Chanel Beauty, a collaboration that quietly changed the way the world looked earlier this year. The silence after the revelation was even louder. No excessive announcement party. No claims were announced on a winning note. Everything is conveyed in an almost whispered way, and yet the echo spreads everywhere. Jungkook and Chanel Beauty. Two names, each of which already has its own world, are now in the same storyline. This may seem like a step that should have happened. But for those who pay closer attention, there is a much deeper layer of emotion and symbolism. Jungkook doesn't just appear as a handsome face on the pages of magazines. It exists as a representation of change, a shift in the meaning of masculinity, beauty, and self-expression in a global culture. Interestingly, not a single sentence explicitly explains how this collaboration will go forward. All left open. It's as if Chanel Beauty didn't want to simply choose Jungkook, but rather make room for him to define the meaning of beauty in his own way. The camera's glare, barely exaggerated makeup, frank expressions, everything converges in one silent message. Beauty doesn't have to be noisy to be strong, and Jungkook seems to understand that. He's not trying to steal attention. On the contrary, he looks comfortable, calm, as if he is in a place that has been waiting for him for a long time. There is a different maturity than before. There is an aura of a person who knows where he is going, although there is no need to explain it to anyone. Among the fans, whispers began to be heard. It's not just an endorsement. It feels personal. Like the beginning of a new era. Yet again, nothing is really confirmed. All remain in a gray area that makes this story even more alive. The media can only interpret. The public can only feel. To be sure, the January issue of ELLE is now no longer just the opening magazine of the year. It turns into a marker. The marker that 2025 opens with a quiet but impactful step. That Jungkook, without the need for many words, has positioned himself at the intersection of music, fashion and global identity, and perhaps, precisely because everything is not announced with a bang, the collaboration feels even more classy. Like Chanel itself. A wonderful start, the new one really feels its meaning when we realize, this is not the end of curiosity, except the beginning. As the last page is turned, one feeling is left behind, an impression that is hard to explain but reluctant to leave. As if this story wasn't really over yet, just pause to catch your breath. Jungkook didn't close the door, he left it slightly open, enough to make anyone want to peek further. In a fast-paced, spotlight-filled industry, a move like this feels bold. There is no need to prove anything. No ambition is shouted. There is only a silent conviction, that true influence does not always come from the loudest voice, but rather from a consistent and unwavering presence. Chanel Beauty also seems to understand this game very well. Instead of defining Jungkook, they let him be himself. And that's precisely where its appeal grows. A collaboration that doesn't feel forced, nor does it seem rushed. Everything flows, as it was outlined a long time ago. Some Korean entertainment observers refer to this moment as the meeting of two legends of different generations. One is born of a long history and classic aesthetics, the other grows out of the digital age and global emotions. But the two meet at the same point, eternity. Interestingly, Jungkook didn't change to fit in. He has not lost his essence as an artist known for being sincere and soulful. Quite the contrary, the charm is noticeably maturing. It's as if every experience he's had over the years, on stage, behind the scenes, in the spotlight, has slowly shaped him toward this moment, and the public began to realize one important thing: that it's not about beauty trends, that it's not about gender, age, or conventional boundaries, that it's about self-expression, about the courage to appear as you are, with a confidence that no one needs to justify. Perhaps that is why this story is not closed with official exaggerations. Because the impact is not measured by words, but rather by the resonance left behind. From conversations that keep rolling. From an unquenchable curiosity. January has just begun, but one thing is clear: Jungkook's move this time is not just opening the year, instead of opening a chapter, and like all great stories, this chapter does not begin with an answer, rather with curiosity which slowly turned into confidence.